All right, James, we'll get back to you in regards to a visit out to spring practice and what hit you first and foremost.
Well, the first thing that I'm always doing when I'm going out here is I got to look to see if these guys belong. I mean, they've been pretty small. They've had guys where that were big and that look like they can do stuff, and those are the guys they leaned on. But across the board, top to bottom, you haven't really seen that in the last couple of years. And boy, let me tell you this: Coach Storm's been working the boys. Because when I walked out there, I'm like, okay, this guy looks like he could play. He could have played when I played, or this guy looks like he might have been able to play when I played. And just in the places where we need it. Um, I'll skip offensive line because we still need a little bit more depth there. But when I'm looking at the defensive line, I'm looking at the ends. One kid that really stood out, Fuller, Quayshawn Fuller. Like he was a, I hate to disrespect the kid, but he was a little fluffy little thing when he first came in. He's looking like a grown man now. He's got man muscles and looks good, looks the part. You got guys like Josh Farmer. I posted a picture on Facebook when I first met him as a recruit. He was 260 pounds and looked side by side, good size. We look similar. Took a picture with him on Saturday. I ain't a small man. That little boy made me look tiny, man. I had to tell him, little boy, you got to back up a little bit. You getting a little bit too big for me. So you see stuff like that, and it kind of makes you be like, okay, we're developing guys, we're trending. And what I was afraid of was when you lose a guy like Jermaine Johnson, like what are you gonna do? But then I looked at the defensive ends and I'm like, okay, McClendon looks good. He looks like he could be a pass rush specialist. He's gotten more physical, more developed. Verse, he came in, but even a kid like Hester, who from Jacksonville, Florida, I wasn't really the highest on him, but like seeing him and how his body's adapted, those are the things that you notice, and that's the first thing. And then the speed of practice and people bouncing around, getting to where they know. I made a comment that everybody, so the people who are really really super pro Mike Norvell took it one extreme. The people who are negative said, "Come on," but my thing is that's the best that they've looked in the last 5 years. If practice one,
Mhm.
not saying we win the natty, but practice one, we haven't looked that good in a while.
Mhm. Yeah, you saw a lot of depth there, kind of all around, and it goes to show you had a good handful of transfers along with those early enrollees. Man, I mean, it absolutely stomps on last year's class of getting some good double handful of these early enrollees and getting them in the fold, and that helps a ton with guys like Duffy, who is a true freshman quarterback, and he just looks comfortable. He doesn't look antsy. He's up there listening. There's going to be mistakes made, but he looked fluid. There's not going to be a competition for a starting job, in my opinion, this spring, no matter what. But there's definitely a job for that QB2 spot. I think that's what Duffy has in his mental, and that's how it should be. But the biggest thing that I took away from Duffy is just the comfortable, and him being able to connect with a few of the wide receivers. And, there's still some things where he's learning and getting some reads down. We saw on this last practice yet on Monday afternoon, just some things where he's, kind of had that freshman day of, man, getting these reads down. It's a little bit different, definitely a little bit different when you have Jared Verse coming off the side with extreme speed, McClendon too, who I think is, it might be a killer this upcoming year. It's a little bit different pace for him, so he's kind of getting used to that. But it's the biggest sign to me of just seeing how comfortable he is in that system, and you can tell that he's been doing a great job and hearing good things about him and learning installs and going through the playbook. He's there. He's got the mentals. He's got the smarts to do it. So that's a really good sign. But I'm not waiting. I'm waiting until today. Today, the shells come on. So now we can really start reporting on these offensive linemen, these defensive linemen. And, James knows it too. I don't like talking too much about them until there's pads on. They're wearing jerseys right now and stuff on their shoulders. I don't give a damn if a block is happening here, or running back's got a hole, whatever. I want to see pads come on and see how these guys work, because there's a lot of competition on this offensive line. There's a lot of guys, but, there's some competition at center right away. I mean, there's even Bless Harris coming in. too, that is going to shake up some things on that line that, Coach Atkins has a lot to work with, which is a really good thing. And you still got hopefully 3 more in total coming in the summer. So, I'm really excited to see how these left tackles, these right tackles go at it with these DNs who are going to have a serious competitive spring. I think Coach Norvell talked about it on Monday afternoon, saying, I'm going to wait till these shells come on and really see the competitiveness that will come with this defensive end group. And, you've got serious problems on the inside too for these offensive linemen. I can't wait for Caden Lyles versus Robert Cooper, even Maurice Smith going against Fabian Lovett. I mean, that's not even like a fair advantage. Maybe Caden Lyles and Lovett, but, Maurice, a little bit more of a smaller center. There's a lot of things going to be going on in the trenches, and I love watching Coach Odell coach on the field. That's just kind of old school coaching, and I just really I like coaches that will tell you straight up that you're effing up or you're screwing up, and that's what he's done with Farmer, who's a really young defensive lineman here, who I think Coach Odell just loves to death, and there's a lot of hope for that freshman in the 44 jersey to get going. So it's been a solid start to spring. It's been a solid start, Mark.